Thank you for joining this session. Today, we're going to talk about the multiline parser. We're going to review a few misunderstandings and to clarify how this component works. So first of all, thanks to our sponsor, Chronosphere. Thanks to them, we can provide this webinar to the community. For those of you who may not know me yet, I'm a Fluent Bit maintainer and contributor for a couple of years. And yeah, the rest you can read it there. I'm kind of active on GitHub and other networks. You can find me there by Lecaros. The idea is to have a bi-weekly space to connect with maintainers and the community. We are now focused on share knowledge, to have an open Q&A sessions, and of course do contributor guidance if you're new to the project, or if you want to contribute to any other project, we can help you with that. What we always recommend is to contribute to projects that you actually use. So if you are here, we presume you're using Fluent Bit, so you're very welcome to contribute to the project. We're gonna still talking about PRs, about requests, about issues. So don't be afraid of joining us bi-weekly to talk about those if you have any. What you can expect from these sessions, short tools or walkthroughs from us, the maintainers, or even from users. If you have something that you want to share with the community, you are very welcome to reach out, and we will schedule a session for you. And interesting things that are coming to Fluent Bit. As you may know, we have releases every 6 months, more or less. So you should be able to get during the sessions to see what we have been working on. Yeah, okay, we're going to skip this. You can read it. You can see in the social networks and in the meetup page, you can see more details about this. And yeah, we are here to help if you need our help. So as you already know, Fluent Bit is in the middle of your sources and your destination of telemetry data, logs, metrics, traces, whatever you have. We can reprocess and transport them to wherever you want. Today, we're going to focus in a core component of Fluent Bit, which is the multiline processor or parser. To set the context for this a little bit more, this is part of the logging challenges that we have. Just a brief summary of what you may have seen on previous presentations. There is one user goal that we want to help accomplish, which is the data analysis. This will allow users to get insights and take technical and business decisions based on what information you can extract from the logs. How we're going to do this? By collecting this data from services and applications, right? All of our systems will generate this useful information about the internal status, and we need to read them to know what's going on. And we do this through the logs for this case, right? We have other signals, but on this case, we're going to focus on logs. The main issues that we have with reading logs in the real world is that we will have unstructured data, and we need to parse this data to convert it in structured data that both humans and machines can consume to help us make those decisions that we talked about before. So for example, this is a very well-known log event from a HTTP server. So here, if you are tech savvy enough, you will recognize what is there. You can recognize that you have the IP address, HTTP method, the URI or resource that we are requesting, the HTTP version, the status code, etc. Right? So you know what information is there, but a machine doesn't know yet what kind of information is there. So the idea is that we can go from this unstructured log event to a log event with a structure where we can easily identify the keys and the values of the data that is inside these log events. So to parse that, sometimes we're going to need a multi-line parser. Not every log event is only one line. And when we talk about a line, we mean that it ends with a new line character, right? That's the character that we're expecting to tell, hey, this is the end of the line. This is the end of this log event. But in certain cases, you will have a log event that is not only one line, but several lines. And you need to tell the agent Fluent Bit, on this case, that this log event need more lines. Think about stack traces, or think about large messages that you are not printing in only one line. The most common case is the stack traces from Go, from Python, from Java, etc. So this multi-line parser is quite simple on its definition. It's a state machine. So basically, it's going to start from state and it's going to move through states, right, based on the data that it's receiving, based on the next line in the stream of log events or log records. So this multi-line state machine needs basically two things, two states. The first one, which is the required state, and you cannot change the name, is a start state. This one needs to match the first line of your multi-line log event. And then you will have any other line that belongs to this multi-line log event also identified with a different state. In this case, which is also in the official documentation of Fluent Bit, you will see that the start date is there, and then you have a second regular expression for the state cont, like continuation. You can give any name to this state. Only the first one is required, and it must be start state. So the next one is add, right? We're talking here about Java stack trace multi-line event. You know that when you have a exception, the second line of the Java stack trace will be a line starting with a tab or spaces and then add, right? And then a class name in general, right? So you know that this start state is the first line of your multiline. And every line that comes next to that, starting with spaces, tab, and then add, is part of this stack trace, right? You can be more specific if you want. Let's say that the stack trace changes and it not only begins with add, but with another word or with another well-known symbol. You should then create a new state for that, like another cont state, right, with a new regular expression, and then the next state will still be cont, right? So this is basically how this works. This is what you need to understand to have one simple multi-line parser configuration, right? The main features of this multi-line parser is that this can work as a parser or as a filter. What does it mean? When you're reading files with the tail plugin, you have an option to declare the multi-line parser that you're going to use, right? And you can also choose a parser in the tail plugin. So let's say that you're receiving JSON data. So you will tell tail to use the parser JSON for the incoming data. And if you're receiving multi-line events, you can tell directly to the tail plugin to use a multi-line parser. So you will configure parser.multiline and will tell the name of this parser that you want to use. So in that case, it works as a parser, right? A parser for the tail plugin. But you know that there are other parsers for different objectives. For example, when you're running your workload in a container environment, you will usually have prefixes to your record lines. You will have probably a date, a stream, or whatever you have. CRI and other container runtimes will add that. So first of all, if you're reading those logs using the tail plugin, you need to get rid of that part, right? Or use it, whatever you want. But you need to first identify that. So you can tell to this tail plugin configuration that the data that you're reading is in a CRI format. So it will take care of it. And then if it is a multi-line record, what you're expecting or could expect but reading these log files, then you will include a filter. And this filter will use the multi-line parser. So this is the difference, right? Tail, you can tell to use parsers. You can pick any parser that you need, CRI, Python, Go, etc. And then if you're running on this container runtime, you will tell, first of all, take into account that this is CRI. So, yeah, and then you will define the filter to parse the multi-line incoming records. It has a flush time. Let's say that for whatever reason, part of the multi-line event is not coming at the same time, you can handle that. You can define the flush time. So you will wait, or the multi-line parser will wait up to that time for the rest of pieces of this multi-line record, right? The line limit or the length of the line limit doesn't apply for multi-line parsers, and the memory limit doesn't apply either. So be careful with that because this not apply. And if you have a wrong definition for the multi-line, you can end up with a huge log event that will consume your memory. So always test your multi-line parsers. Okay, so these are two things that we don't have in multi-line compared to the regular parsers, the line limit and the memory limit. But there are also some misconceptions. Today, we're going to discuss two of them that are very important and that we have seen through the community with users and customers as well. A misconception is that parsers can be chained in the tail configuration. When you tell the tail to use a parser, let's say that you're running a Go application in a CRI runtime, you say, okay, then you need to parse the the records with CRI and the Go parser. So you will put both parsers in the tail parser config parameter. That's wrong. The engine will only apply the first matching parser. So if you need to parse using both CRI and Go, you need to tell tail to do the CRI part first, and then with a filter or with a processor, you will tell to apply the Go parser. So do not expect that it will try those in order, but all of them, right? It will try in order, but only the first one that matches, that's it. It's done, right? Okay, and the second one is that it requires an end state. No. Fluent Bit, it is expecting to have the start state, and then how it continues to receive the rest of the multi-line event. It's not expecting to see a matching regular expression to tell, hey, this is the end of the multi-line event, so I'm done doing the parsing, flash this. No, that's not right. You only need the start state and the continuations. It will keep adding to that until it sees a new start state, right? So yeah, you don't need an end state. Fluent is not expecting an end state. If you look into sample configurations from our repositories or from other users, you will notice that that's not required. So yeah, any piece of documentation that still says that over there, yeah, please inform the person providing this information because that's wrong. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to share a couple recommendations and troubleshooting for the multi-line parsers. The first recommendation for any troubleshooting any issues is to have a process. Do not underestimate the processes for troubleshooting. If you know that following some steps in the past have helped you to figure out an issue and to get to a solution, follow that process. If you still not identify such a process, try to do it. Get into troubleshooting any issue that you have and take note of what you did, right? And make sure you formulate your hypothesis and make sure that you try to prove the reasons that you think are the causes for that, and and, and respect that process. Just do it. It is good. Okay, and through this process, use the tooling available for this. We recommend Ruler.com because we use the same engine they use, which is from Ruby. Use AI if you have access to that. It's very decent given that you provide a correct prompt. So make sure that you tell the AI when creating a regular expression that not to be eager, right? And have a test lab. Do not move your new parsers, new parsers definitions to production without testing this. Make sure that you have samples of the kind of log that you should receive from the application services or whatever, and make sure that you exercise that and that the parser is actually working. And if after that you still need help, and when I say we, I say the community in general, we are here to help. If you need help, make sure that you have a repro. What is a repro? Basically, is a piece of configuration and input that will allow us to reproduce your issue, right? Work in this minimal required config. It should be easier for you to do this than for anyone that will try to help you out. So do your homework. That's your homework when you need help. And if you have that when reporting an issue, like explaining exactly what you're doing, the issue that you're seeing, the config that you're using, the input data, the results, and the expected behavior, if you have that, I can almost guarantee there will be at least someone that will try to help you. If you don't see that from other users, you will probably not try to help because you need to have them make questions. I mean, have them answer some questions like, what are you doing? What is the config? What is the output? What's the input data that you're using? What's the version that you're using, etc. Yeah, that will use energy that the people trying to help could use for other stuff, right? So make sure that you have the MRC, okay, minimal required config. And of course, all the information about the current status and the expected behavior. And where you can get us on GitHub, you can submit issues on GitHub. You can connect with us through this community Slack. All of them are in fluentbit.io webpage, and even Stack Overflow. From time to time, we visit Stack Overflow. There's still people alive there. So if you have a good questions or if you're pursuing the knowledge of people that is still lurking there, yeah, go there. It is better to burn all the options than not doing any. And as I said, the OSS community, the open source community, right? We have these calls. From time to time, we do the open town hall style of call, where it usually be one of the core maintainers there talking to the community and expecting feedback and expecting questions from you, from the users of Fluent. So this was the presentation for today. Please pay attention to these misconceptions and to the MRC. I think those are the most valuable takeaways from this talk. And yeah, let us know if you need any help. Join us in the bi-weekly calls and see you around. Or if you go to live events, we are usually there as well. So that's it. Thank you and bye for now.